Hello and welcome to the Sunday interview. My guest today is a seasoned administrator, an ingenious public servant, a philanthropist, and a barrister at law. You will be meeting my guest after this break. I am Adeoluwa. Stay tuned. Welcome back. My guest today holds a master's degree in law. He's currently serving as the secretary to a state government in southwest Nigeria for the second time. And of course, if you call him a man of many parts, you wouldn't be wrong. I am talking about barrister Taiwo Adeoluwa, the secretary to Ogun State government. Thank you for joining us on the show. All right, you're welcome. Now, first off, tell us how growing up was like as a twin and childhood memories.
I grew up like a normal child in Adeoluwa here. When you said as a twin, I was a bit, I didn't know what to say, because I didn't grow up to know my twin brother.
Oh.
Those days, child mortality was high, and the little ones died for the flimsiest of excuses and reasons. So I didn't grow up to know my twin brother. But I was told that he was a male and that he had far more peaceful traits than I as a child. School started here in Abeokuta. I'm a local boy. Primary school was here, partly Lagos. Secondary school was in Lagos African Church Grammar School, Ifakagege. And of course, as it was the trend those days, I came back for my higher education. I attended the then Ogun State Polytechnic. Okay. Now Moshood Abia Polytechnic. I had a fulfilled childhood. My parents were there for me. Well, I must be frank, my mother was there for me. Okay. My father was an absentee father, and left Abeokuta, went to Ife, took a degree in law, went to UILAG, took a master's degree in law. In between, I went to the Nigerian Law School. I started my law firm. I set up Providence Chambers in 1989 after my brief tutelage with my principal, Sadu Sagali Anko in Apapa. And I was running my practice, very, very successful law practice by God's grace, until I was invited by my principal, the governor of Ogun State, to join the public service in 2011 as secretary to government. I've been here the past 7 years.
Indeed, and it's been an interesting journey so far. Tell us, were you a troublesome boy growing up?
I was certainly a troublesome boy.
Can you share some of your...
Certainly.
Thanks.
My father was an absentee father. Even at that, he died early. And I was left in the care of my mother and grandmother. The early years I will not remember, but I'm told I was troublesome. But the ones I remember very well was that growing up in Agege at that time, Ifakagege, I told you I attended Lagos African Church Grammar School. So, of course, yes, I was troublesome. I did everything the young ones in those days did, including running away from home to watch a film at Rainbow Cinema in Mushin.
Really?
when they started Danjuma Cinema in 1978, we were the ALS scholars. My mother, I really gave her a lot of, a light dose of anxiety as the only male. So I gave her a lot of anxiety. Twice, she tried to take me to welfare home. And once I was on the way there, when some Aladuras that we saw on the way, they were doing their night vigil, pleaded with her to allow me. So I was a troublesome child. But in none of those, I did well at school. My troublesomeness didn't affect my school activities. I left secondary school with a Division 1, the highest in those days. I left the University of Ife as the best student in the Faculty of Law. I left Nigerian Law School in 1986 as the best student in Nigeria.
Wow.
I had the best result in the country in 1986. I had the best result. I had 2 results that people really combined. The best student of the year, and then the best in overall academic performance in the bar finals in 1986. So I was troublesome, but it didn't affect my academics.
All right, which childhood memory do you hold so dear that you still remember?
I know that growing up, I wanted to be a tailor.
Wow.
I wanted to be a tailor. In Abeokuta here, that was all my ambition. I used to buy cardboards and cut them out, trying to do what they call fashion designing. But when we moved to Agege, to Ifako Agege specifically, on our street then, Okeono Street, we had a neighbor, one Oye Yoda. He was a lawyer. He ended up to become a judge in Osun State before he passed on. And those days, I had my dreams, but I now saw in my neighborhood, on my street, he had a 404 car, white, and every morning he would come out attired in the lawyer's apparel, and then he was the only one that owned the car. That fired a new dream in me that, wait a minute, tailoring may not give me this kind of good life, and I think I should be like this man. And from that point, I started to see myself as a lawyer. When I came to Guse Polytechnic, I did A-levels. My admission in 1979, the first one was in geography. I said, no, I won't do geography. I went back, completed my A-levels. I did first time. And I was glad when Ife gave me admission in law in 1980. That's the best. But I had apart from that, I do not immediately recollect the childhood. Unless you want to know that it was not all bed of roses.
I really need to know that.
When we were in Ifako Agege, I had a very loving mother.
Okay.
She would do everything to make her children happy, even at her discomfort. But a point came when we ran into crisis, and I had to go off to Orile Agege to serve as a houseboy to the Guntoyes in Orile Agege. I was there for about 3 years. We needed his help to take up a portion of my training.
Okay.
After that, my uncle stepped in, Mr. Falabi Shorimade. He's still alive. That was my destiny helper. That was the one that God sent to us. All of this while he was out of the country, he came in and took me, particularly, as his point of interest. He took over. I left my houseboy job, moved back, because now we got someone to help us. He saw me through school. Even though those days, I don't know what happens now, if you showed promise, school was real fun. In Ife in those days, I think in most federal universities, if you had a particular GPA in the first year, you qualify for some scholarships. So in the first year in Ife, I got the federal government scholarship for brilliant students. I also got the USC scholarship. So I combined
2 scholarships.
Yes, one was 500 naira for the whole year. Federal government.
Really, then?
UAC was 728, but those were big sums in those days. I remember that my 500 naira, I went to buy a motorcycle, brand new. Brand new was maybe around something, Suzuki. So I have been a recipient of mercy from Throne of Grace, from where we started and how God took us through. Particularly since I qualified as a lawyer, my experience very clear that God has been with me. I've had a good life since I started as I practiced as a lawyer.
In fact, your story is a typical story of from grass to grace. Now, from what you've told me so far, it seems that you're someone that doesn't really go out so much. Am I correct? You don't socialize.
I partook in all of the things that my colleagues, my age mates in those days did. Of course, we partied.
Okay.
I said we had free money, 2 scholarships. I didn't tell them at home that I had scholarships anyway, so I had all the funds.
You didn't tell your mother?
I didn't tell your mother.
And you said you were not a prankster.
I didn't tell your mother. We arranged our mother ourselves.
Oh.
We bought a motorcycle so I could ease our movement around the campus. I partook in politics, very, very, very little. I've always been modest in everything I do. I partied. I did all those things. I remember very well that we even had a retainer, a lyric musician. Everywhere we went, we were together. And I remember very well that my principal now, my leader, the governor, I remember very well that he used to be the leader of the group.
Oh, you met the governor while you were still in school?
I met the governor when we were here in Ogun State Polytechnic.
Really?
Yes. We met 7980 in Ogun State Polytechnic here.
All right, tell me about your marriage and your children.
Marriage. I have been blessed with a good wife. I call her my destiny helper. I call her my life wire. And I've been raised with good children. When God wants to just help your life, He gives you the kind of word that God gave me. And I'm being sincere. I'm not given to sweet talk or sacrifice. I mean, I am lucky in the choice of marriage. I'm lucky in the choice of my wife. I just got help from Throne of Grace. I'm married to Folashade Adeoluwa. She was Nyanima Shaun. I have the very most wonderful in-laws that I can imagine. And we are blessed with 4 wonderful children and a grandchild.
A grandchild already?
Yeah.
I know your daughter got married last year, right?
Yes. The one that got married has a brother, an older brother.
Oh.
Oluwaseun. So he gave me the first grandchild 8 years ago.
8 years ago? So you've been a grandfather for so long?
Yes.
All right, so how do you relax when you want to relax? How do you get to relax now? Because you have busy schedules.
Before I got to this public service, which is very hectic, I used to spend a lot of time with my family. We traveled a lot. We are a family of tourists. That used to be my main avenue to relax and unwind. I remember that when my daughter was about 15, the one you said got married in December, I remember she wrote her first book, The Survivors. And it was a collection of her experiences around the globe. At that time, I think my family had holidayed in at least 5 continents. That was why I said that everything I went through as a child by way of not many opportunities. The Almighty God compensated so soon. Financial success came very, very early. I give her glory. And my life is around my family. I spent a large dose of my time. Before I came to this job, because this is a different story altogether. I spent around my family, traveling around the world and sightseeing. Well,
all right, I have some more questions for you, but we need to go on a short break. I have been speaking with the SSG to Ogun State, Barrister Taiwo Adeoluwa. Stay with us, but we'll be right back. Welcome back. I have been speaking with Barrister Taiwo Adeoluwa, the Secretary to the State Government of Ogun State. He has been sharing with me the story of his life so far. Thank you for staying with me on the show.
Thank you.
Now, as the SSG of Ogun State, how have you been able to serve Ogun since you've been serving since 2011, right?
Yes. I thank God. I thank the man that God used to bring me here, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, CNFCA, and by implication, I thank the people of Ogun State. Ogun State today is nearly 8 million in population, and if God has given you the opportunity to serve in this front role, it is grace, and we must see it like that. My appointment was very dramatic. I don't know whether you ever heard about it. He invited me, we came, had a meeting, and went back. I had not been. Then he said, now, you guys should at least see my shop where I will be up. So that morning, the first working day, all of us, his childhood school friends, we were in a coastal board. We went into the office. We got there. He went to a meeting with the head of the private secretaries. We were just playing, some of us have not seen for a long time. A lot of people came from America, from London, because we know that he genuinely wanted to serve. So many of us were not politicians, but we just wanted to give him that moral support, We got to the secretariat. He was doing meeting with the president. We were just gisting. Then he came out and then he was inspecting the offices. We were just gisting at the back. Then the next I heard was that my SSG go announce his name. Taiwo Adeoluwa. I said, what is SSG?
Really?
Because that was how I became SSG.
Wow.
I didn't have 1 minute notice of my appointment, you see. I didn't know. Then I sat down and I said, what is SSG? They said, Secretary to Government. I said, what is the word of Secretary to Government, for God's sake? Looking back, I think it was divine. God used my friend, my brother, my principal to give me this opportunity. There is no money. There is no success. There's no financial reward that can take the place of the opportunity and privilege of participating in policies and destinies that can change generations. I give examples. When I came in 2011, one of the first things that we met here was the crisis in the school system. Shortly before he left, the last administration, Governor Daniel, in his wisdom, I don't judge people, he decided to return the mission schools back to the missions. We felt that was not well thought out because we were products of that other divide. If we had gone to Corona, I went to this primary school here, it's a public school. If we had gone to Corona, if we had gone to where our own children went, my children went to Green Springs. You probably would not know that 22,000 pupils were out of school. These were children of Mama Elepo like me, Mama Lakara. They were in mission schools. And because God could not cope, God just returned them haphazardly without planning. And believe me, my governor believes very firmly that if we send our children to good schools, send them to England, send them to America for education, and our immediate neighbor had no such opportunity, the kids are out of school like we met, In 7 to 10 short years, those schools who were not able to go to school will come back to torment the ones that went to school abroad.
Sure. And
the society will be pulled down together. So what did we do? We reversed that policy. Because of our background as coming from underprivileged homes, we understood the challenge. We understood the plight of those children. We understood that, hey, we are just lucky. I could have ended up, I was a houseboy, I just told you. I could have ended up Michelle Oshodi. They didn't want it, they didn't desire it, but that was what society made of them. So I like that opportunity. So we sat down in ESCO. They abused us. We said, no, we are going to take those schools back. But to show you that we have no interest in your school, we just want to tell you that these kids cannot be disenfranchised. We started building our own model schools. That is why you have, in every corner of Ogun State, you have the model colleges. Okay. So they will know that government has plans, but before our plans come on stream, apart from that, public office have shown me, and I've seen the wide gulf in society. You know, we were conquering our own small private world. We were making money, we were doing well, bless God, we were doing those things that we thought was the ultimate. But public office have shown me that there is more to life than money making. There is more to life than those luxuries. I just told you that I was very lucky. I don't remember anywhere that we have not holiday as a family before I came to Abeokuta.
Now, from what you've told me so far, it's so obvious that you really enjoy serving the people. Then one wonders why the rumor was prevalent. I think it was last year that you resigned at one point, but you refuted it. I had the rumors too. You see, I just told you, my principal was not just anybody. This was my friend from way back. So when I had the rumor of resignation, if I will laugh over it together. If I saw me and say, SSG, you have resigned, and we all laughed. They're just wild rumors. I have enjoyed, and I say it from the heart, I have enjoyed my work here. I have enjoyed working with this man who has brought and added a lot of value to our lives. We're able to work on the street with a head so high because our principal, the governor, and our administration have done well. I am lucky to have worked with a man that God deposited 3 things together. You see, those things are not common. God gives the Governor Musu 3 things. Uncommon passion. He simply has this passion. And I told you from his youthful days, he didn't start today. You see, people know that he didn't start with election. That has always been him. He has this uncommon passion for Ogun State, for public service. He has this uncommon energy. Because you can have passion and not have energy. True.
The man can work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and he will not be tired. He has uncommon energy. And he has courage. In 2012, one Professor Shobo Ali did an inaugural lecture, and somebody drew attention to something. He said Ogun State under Amosu had demolished more houses than all the other states and federal government put together. Yet Ogun State people are not complaining. We should ask Ogun State government what they have done right. It's courage.
All right, so after serving with Governor Amosu, what's next?
I'm not God. Maybe you are God. I don't know. I cannot say. I don't know tomorrow.
But do you have any political plan?
The answer is yes and no.
Okay.
When I was coming in 2011, I didn't have any plan. God just decided that it was time for me to be brought here. In 2019, if it is the will of God, of course, I will be involved with public service.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you my firm belief in life. If I am not doing this work, God will ensure that I'm doing something better. So I don't get agitated about what will happen tomorrow. Like political animals, we all have some plans, but we are not God.
Okay.
For example, this Ogun Central, a lot of people have come here to say, you should run for Senate, you should run for this, you run for that. I say, well, 2 things. I am a member of a team because I said Team SIA. That team was formed long before we came here. I just told you that we were following him. I am a loyalty person. I am a corporate survivor person. 1% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So as a team, as a group, we will decide. If, for example, the team thinks I should run for office, and God says yes, I'll talk to my family. If the answer is yes, then I'll go.
Lastly now, what would you like to be remembered for?
That's a tough one. We're not perfect. I may not actually know what I've done so right, what I've done so wrong. But I like to, because in the last 7 years, I've seen life in a different perspective. That a life without service to others, a life without service to the community, a life without impact is totally a useless life. Like I said, I've seen it all. I've seen it all. And today, if God gives me the strength, I like to affect more of my environment, my community, and my environment. I like to be remembered as a man who did his very best to touch the life of others. I am a beneficiary of God's mercy and the help of others. I am not better off than anybody in Oshodi doing Mulwe or anybody doing Oraisa. I'm not better. I'm just luckier. So I like to do all I can. I like to remember as a man who did all he can to remember, to assist those who are like me with little opportunities. I don't like to, it's not something that is a part with God. I suffice to say that I indulge in a lot of charity, particularly brilliant but disadvantaged young ones and orphans and widows. I like to, when I see a single mom, it reminds me of my background, my mom. 6 children, a poor illiterate woman, no support. And in those days, it's not like now that they will have 10 boyfriends to support. She was absolutely a godly woman. So I like to support, and I do a lot of those. But like I said, it's a part between me and my Creator. So I like to remember as a man who did his very best to positively affect his environment.
All right. Thank you very much, SSG, for featuring on our show today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. And with that, we wrap it up on the Sunday interview today. My guest on the show was the Secretary to the State Government of Ogun State, Barrister Taiwo Adeoluwa. For inquiries and your questions, of course, you know what to do. Send all of them to the Sunday interview at tvcnews.tv. Until I come your way next week, I am Azizat Olaoluwa. Bye for now.